Welcome to West Michigan Philanthropy. I'm John McFarland with Miller Johnson's Trust and Estates Practice Group. And joining me today are my guests, Jennifer Yelovina, Senior Director of Gift Planning with Western Michigan University, and Brad Kaufmann with the Mary Free Bed Foundation, Director of Planned Giving there. Today we're going to talk about the Secure Act 2.0 and qualified charitable distributions. There were some new enhancements to the Secure Act which benefit charity and provide some great opportunities for charities and taxpayers in Western Michigan. So I thought, Jennifer and Brad, I would talk about the old rules of the qualified charitable distributions from the Pension Protection Act of 2006. And back then, it wasn't possible, really, to make an outright gift from your IRA during lifetime. It was not tax efficient. You'd have to withdraw from that IRA, pay ordinary income tax, and then make a gift of cash to the charity. And you really didn't get a real smooth, tax efficient gift when doing that. So many leaders in the philanthropic community, Conrad Teitel, Charles Schultz, and others, lobbied Congress and sought to have a piece of legislation passed which would allow for direct transfers from IRAs to qualified charities. So in that bill, you have to be, in its current law now, 70 and a half years or older. There is a cap of $100,000 per year for these outright direct transfers to charity. It qualifies for the required minimum distribution, the RMD, which we know your donors and taxpayers really don't like paying that RMD if they can avoid it. So another major benefit is that it's not included in taxable income. So people who are looking to make a gift from that IRA, and they've estimated there are $4 trillion, I think, locked up in IRA assets across the country, they can use these assets now to make charitable gifts. Tell me a little bit, Jennifer, about how these QCDs have helped Western Michigan University and how you promote and market these gifts.
This is something we really focused on because it is such an opportunity for our donors. So those who are 70 and a half have an opportunity to draw down those funds and give to scholarship, experiential learning opportunities, all of the different initiatives that we have going on. We are marketing them pretty significantly and trying to educate our donors who are over 70 and a half that this is an opportunity. So we're doing some direct mail. We're putting out emails, taglines on our signature lines, that kind of thing. Lots of information going out about giving, the benefits of giving through your IRA.
Have you seen an increase from the early days when this was first passed and put into law to now? I've seen with clients at Miller Johnson, they're very aware of this, and it's very popular with donors. I think that people like to do it, and I encourage people, if you're going to make gifts to charity, make those gifts with the IRA assets. They're not tax-friendly gifts to pass on down to children because the kids are going to have to pay ordinary income tax when they withdraw that money. So make those gifts from the IRA to charity. Brad, what about at Mary Free Bed Foundation? Do you see quite a few of these gifts?
Yeah, I think, you know, with the legislation, when it came out, it really was a game changer in terms of allowing folks who had these assets to support their favorite charities in a more meaningful and a bigger way, really. What we saw is that the gifts, the QCDs were larger than a typical gift from specific donors because of the tax advantage of being able to do that. And what it's also allowed them to do is have a little bit more involvement in how they want to support certain programs and efforts at Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Hospital. Like Jennifer said, people could target it to certain things, and that's the same within our hospital too. So if they wanted to specifically target our spinal cord injury program or our stroke rehab program, they could do that with a larger, more meaningful gift because they were giving it from their IRA instead of out of their discretionary disposable income, because it became just a better tax benefit, as you said. They don't have to pay the income tax on it anymore, and so it allowed them to make those larger gifts. So we saw an uptick in the amount of gifts and an uptick in the quantity, the quantity of gifts that we got from different donors.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
I know I've seen clients in the past that will give the $100,000 cap maybe in the tail end of the year, November, December, and then they'll turn around and do another $100,000 in January or February of the following year. So you can have a substantial impact in a short amount of time to help your favorite charities. It's worth noting, and I know that you both know this, but for our viewers, I want to make it clear, only qualified public charities can receive these QCDs, and that would not include supporting organizations, private foundations, or donor-advised funds. But there are opportunities. I know I've talked with folks for, as you said, Brad, designated gifts or targeted type funds where you can certainly establish some good projects and programs. One other point I wanted to mention, there's no charitable income tax deduction, so I'm sure you get that with your donors. Well, they'll ask. Well, they don't get it because it's pre-tax money and they get a benefit not having to pay that ordinary income, but there's no deduction. So I imagine maybe, I don't know how you handle maybe an acknowledgement. I know some charities will have an acknowledgement, but not a receipt for a donation. So that's important.
The acknowledgements are pretty specific to that type of gift, and so we make sure that the language that's required is included in the acknowledgement
So
piece.
they have that. So President Biden signed the Secure Act 2.0. It was signed by President Biden on December 29th of 2022. And included in that, which surprised me and I think others in the planned giving community, there was a provision which allowed for QCD transfers to fund what we know in the industry as split interest vehicles. In the statute, they call them split interest entities. But now you can take, the cap is $50,000, not $100,000, but $50,000, and fund a charitable gift annuity, a charitable remainder unit trust, or a charitable remainder annuity trust. I think your donors are probably familiar with those terms, but they're all what we call life income gifts. The donor makes a gift to a charitable gift annuity, a charitable remainder trust, and they receive an income, life income payment back with the remainder passing to charity. So there's another enhanced opportunity through this legislation for these QCD gifts. It's important to note only the taxpayer and the taxpayer's spouse can be the annuitants or the income beneficiary. So that limits you somewhat when you look at your typical CGA or CRUT type scenario where you could name others. There may be some gift tax implications there, but you could name others. Some other points to make clear for our viewers. Again, it's the $50,000 cap. You can't make additional contributions here. Right. So you can't mix in cash or public securities or property with this. That CGA or that CRUT only can hold the QCD money. And I've heard people talk about conversations that these philanthropic leaders have had with Treasury. They didn't want to, I know early on they had 400,000 was going to be the amount, but they dropped that down because there's a little bit of an opportunity for deferring the ordinary income with these. And they thought if you did a $400,000 charitable gift annuity and you only pay ordinary income on the payment, you have a little bit of a deferral opportunity. So that's important to note for your donors. Everything coming back is going to be taxed as ordinary income, but it frees them up to have these life income gifts. I would imagine you have maybe some senior donors who have the IRA, which is the largest asset in their portfolio, that need income but want to make the gifts during lifetime. I imagine you have some of that, Jennifer.
Yeah, that's the real benefit, that you can, those donors who are concerned about the economy or having income, a steady stream of income, this really does provide an opportunity for them to give in a way that works for them as well. I think with regard to the limit of that $50,000, it is a foot in the door for that legislation, and hopefully we'll see an increase as things move on and people start using these types of vehicles to make their gifts.
It would be tremendous. I think these these bills are very popular, and a lot of good is being done with them. I know there's an inflation index, which is nice. So both for the $100,000 outright QCD transfer and the $50,000 transfer for these split interest entities, in 2024 they're going to adjust the amount for inflation. So we'll see a little bit of an uptick there and an opportunity. I know with the estate tax exclusion, we saw a tremendous increase up to $12.92 million this year due to the inflation adjustment. So with the inflation we're seeing, we might see some opportunities there for your donors. One thing that I've done with clients, and you may have seen this, is sometimes people will have a gift annuity or a charitable remainder trust, and they'll say, I don't need the income anymore. I'm going to assign my life income interest to the charity. It's important to note that is not permissible under this law. So you can't assign that income stream back to the charity or to any other person. So that was a provision in the statute that we need to make sure our donors and clients are aware of. Again, there's a 5% minimum. So that's the case for charitable remainder trust anyway, but it's new for the gift annuity. So I would imagine, Brad, do you use the ACGA rates there, the American Council on Gift Annuity rates?
We do, and actually that's kind of the industry standard for our endowments as well, as there's usually a 5% payout for any endowments that we may hold, whether they be internal or external to our organization, on a rolling period of quarters. They take the average, they look at the value of the corpus of the endowment, and then the 5% will go to the program. So it's kind of across the board, that 5% number. And I think, it's as Jennifer said, it's really about providing another opportunity for these, senior donors to utilize this asset that they have in a more creative and a different way to support their favorite charity.
It's really that concept of seeing your gift while you're living is very important. I know my clients are very moved when they set up these planned gifts, that's a big part of it. They can see their legacy and see their gifts come into fruition, and this is just another chance for more of your donor base to use those IRA assets for that.
Well, and we have too, as I know Western Michigan University does as well, we have our 1891 Legacy Society, which is just a group of folks who have remembered us and included Mary Free Bed in their estate plan. So there's additional benefits and communication opportunities that we utilize through that society to keep those donors informed, give them some opportunities, in our case, to speak with our leadership, our clinical professionals, which is what I think they love. They love to hear about what's going on and what's new at the hospital. So
some interesting, with the 2-life gift annuity and those ACGA rates, I know that sometimes when working with clients, maybe one spouse is significantly older than the other. So those rates, the higher the age of the annuitant, the higher the payout. So some of the younger ages may be below 5%. I haven't looked at those rates in some time, but if it goes below, that's something that charities and taxpayers need to be aware of, that you have to have that 5%. So maybe there might be a time when you have to try to negotiate with the charity to get up to the 5% to qualify for that QCD transfer. Another possible scenario is with what they call the NICRUTs or the NIMCRUTs, where you have a net income, you pay the lesser of the net income or the stated unit trust percentage. So you'd have a 5% stated unit trust percentage, but then there's some question as to whether that lesser of the net income is going to allow that CRUT to qualify for that QCD transfer. So maybe a few wrinkles there that we're going to have to look out for as our donors and clients start to do more and more of these QCD gifts to these split interest vehicles. But some amazing opportunities. Again, the limit here is supporting, or you can't make them the supporting organizations or donor advised funds, so that's something that we have to be aware of. Do you have any other thoughts about this? I know that I've heard some commentators say, well, no one's going to set up a charitable remainder trust for $50,000. You have to pay the attorney. There's the cost of administering the trust. So a lot of commentators I've heard have said this is going to be a real opportunity for gift annuities because you have a simple contract. a quick $50,000 transfer in, and you're going to have a lot of gift annuities written by charities.
Yeah.
Do your organizations issue gift annuities, or do you work with a third party for doing those programs?
Yeah, we work with State Street Global Advisors to manage our gift annuity program. We have a small pool right now, but we are anticipating a bigger display of interest in those gifts. So we're talking to our donors, we're training our team on the nuances that are involved with setting these up, to your point about, the benefit can be for the donor or the spouse and the different age group, that type of thing. So we're working a lot and sharing a lot of information to make sure that our folks are informed.
And Brad, do you have a charitable gift annuity program at Mary Free Bed
We do not
Foundation?
currently, but that is something that we're going to look into now because of this law, I think, or the update to this law. We will engage with a third party as well, just because we feel that that's the cleanest way to do it, and we want to put the details into the hands of the experts on our behalf, and so we're actually in the process of researching folks to handle that for us.
That's an important point, I think, for charitable organizations. And when I advise clients, if you do it internally, there's some risk there. And you have to look at that annuity pool and make sure you have adequate reserves. There are state regulations, so that can be a bit of an administrative burden for these charities. So if you're new to the charitable gift annuity game, there are some great groups out there. I know we both speak with Brian Klontz down with Charitable Solutions LLC and the Decamai Foundation in particular. So you can shift that liability, which is kind of nice. And you don't have to worry about administering these programs, but you benefit from those gifts. So that's a tremendous opportunity. This is a one-time election too. So on these 50,000, that's important. And I imagine the IRS will update their forms probably on the 1040 where you make this election, maybe not by April 15th of this year. I don't know, but the opportunity's there, so it's available for 2023. So a lot of great opportunities here. It's exciting for the charitable community. Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little bit about Western Michigan University and some of the programs you have going on right now?
Sure. Western Michigan University was created in 1903. It's a public research university located in Kalamazoo, Michigan. We have 147 undergraduate degree programs, almost 75 master's level programs, and 30 doctorate programs. We're in the early phases of a campaign really designed to promote opportunities for our students, scholarship, internships for all, experiential learning opportunities, a tremendous amount of support for our students. So we're eager to talk to our donors about different ways that they can give. This really does provide an opportunity for them to amplify their current giving, and it really opens up the conversation for us to have with them about beneficiary designations of those IRA assets and how that might benefit charity after their lifetime. So this is something that's really important to us and to our future.
You might be really busy this year. I think the entire charitable giving community is going to be busy with this. Brad, what about at the Mary Free Bed Foundation?
Well, Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Hospital is the fourth largest independent freestanding rehab hospital in the nation. So we're fortunate to have that here in West Michigan. Founded in 1891, it's kind of an interesting story. Someone found a small black purse on the street that had 6 cents in it and thought, well, let's put this money to good use. And being that it was 1891, the most popular girl's name at the time was Mary. And so they went on a fundraising push to say, if you know someone named Mary or you are named Mary, would you donate a dime so that we can fund a hospital bed for the less fortunate? And so they did that, and that's how it became the Mary Free Bed, actually. So the name stuck. That original group of ladies who started that fundraising effort, incorporated as a guild, and they still are involved and manage and oversee portions of our hospital today. They sit on the board of directors and so forth. And it's grown to be throughout the state of Michigan, both inpatient and outpatient sites, as well as northern Indiana and Chicago, Illinois, and we're looking to expand into a few other states in the future. So the foundation, however, has only been around for about 10 years. And so that's kind of interesting. While Mary Free Bed is 131, 132 years old, the foundation has only been around for 10 years. And in that time has really focused primarily on expansion of our programs and services, and that included a capital campaign back in 2012 to 2016, 17 to build our West expansion, and the hospital went from 46 beds in 23 rooms to 167 beds all in their own room, and they're full all the time, which is unfortunate that we need to have it that way, but they provide a tremendous level of services for our patients and families. And the foundation we're very excited because we're launching another capital campaign soon to build a pediatric rehabilitation hospital right across the street from the current hospital that'll be connected by a skywalk, and it'll be 24 beds focused completely on pediatric rehabilitation. And this isn't just necessarily car accidents and things like that, where a lot of people think that's what rehab is. There's also rehab for stroke and spinal cord injuries and cancer and just a variety of different things, and it's all encompassing. It's not just the physical rehab, but there's also mental and emotional rehab that we specialize in as well. So
many good things happening in West Michigan. And it's a unique, I know we've both talked about this. We serve on the Western Michigan Plan Giving Group together. We're all board members, and that's a common theme that comes up at our meetings, is how generous this community is, how committed to philanthropy this community is, and it's really unique. I don't see this anywhere else in the country quite like Grand Rapids and Western Michigan. So we thank you both for coming to Miller Johnson today and joining us. It's great to hear about your organizations and the good work you do, and it's exciting to see these new opportunities with the QCD transfers to the split interest vehicles. So thank you for coming.